Hello again, Dr. P, and today I want to talk about essay structure. And in particular, I'm going to look at Stephen Jay Gould's essay, Sex, Drugs, Disasters, and the Extinction of Dinosaurs. Now, Gould was uh, a paleontologist, a historian of science, an evolutionary biologist, but he was also a popular science writer. And The Flamingo's Smile is just one of many of his books. I think that one reason the public responded so well and made his books bestsellers to his writing was his clarity. He made abstruse scientific ideas clear. And clarity of structure is one aspect of the clarity of his style. Here we've got a structure. This is a 3D model I've made. If I were to exhibit it in a gallery as an objet, I might call it trilobite, because it's got that same 3D quality that fossils have. You know, they're not pictures, they are 3D objects, the kind of objects that Gould spent his life working with. So let's take a look here. Gould begins this essay with a thesis, no motivator. I'm always talking about beginning your essay with a concrete image, but this is a subject that's dear to Gould's heart, I think, and he gets right into it. What is science? Science is a way of being. Latin scientia, knowledge. It's a way of knowing. And he distinguishes between testability on the one hand, which he says is good science, and useless speculation. That's his term that he uses on the other hand for what he calls bad science. I would substitute the terms empiricism and rationalism. Empiricists depending on the evidence of the senses, rationalists preferring the use of pure reason. And Gould's the empiricist. He gives us the Alvarez hypothesis, Luis and Walter Alvarez and their asteroid theory, and the empirical evidence of iridium, the isotope that they suggested we would find in a particular place in the historical record if we dig down through the strata to a certain time in Earth's history, and sure enough, there it is. That's the empirical evidence. On the other hand, Gould gives us two other theories, Colbert, Coles, and Bogart's fried testicles theory, this outlandish notion, and Ronald Siegel's dinosaurs on drugs theory. Basically, you have to read the essay. But I think it's important to remember that the Alvarez hypothesis would not have seemed any less outlandish at the time. So Gould gives us these models. It contrasts these models, this one good science, these two bad science, and step by step we go through the abstract idea, the concrete examples of these ideas of good science and bad science, and the consequences. And of course, the bad science consequence is nothing at all. There's no test you can do, so it's a dead end. The good science, the consequences of the good science, he says, look at all the new science we can do, all the new avenues that are opened up. And then he does conclude with an image. He doesn't start with an image, but he concludes with a clincher. I've used hallucigenia, a fossil from another great book of Gould's called Wonderful Life, which is about excavations done by scientists in the Burgess Shale in British Columbia, whereby they dig down through the historical record, the strata, down to a very early point in the development of life on Earth, and there is the in this geologically isolated spot is the empirical proof that nature is always trying out different ideas. Just like, more like the Garden of Forking Paths of Jorge Luis Borges than this misconception of linear evolution that Gould was always, he spent his life trying to disabuse people of the notion that Darwin had suggested progress, the linear progress, rather than the bush of adaptation. But hallucigenia, in a way, is just another fossil contorted in the rocks, as Gould has it at the end of his essay, in a typically balanced idea. If we look into the deep past, we can see a possible future. The future of mutually assured destruction. You could think about the Animatrix, Operation Dark Storm. If we once again destroy the atmosphere in the way that it was affected by the Alvarez asteroid, we could replicate those conditions. We could end up like these fossils, contorted in the rocks. It's a chilling idea, and as such, it's going to stick around in the mind. And that's the great clincher, of course. We can reconstruct Gould's essay from that concluding image, just in the way that scientists can often reconstruct a skeleton from just a few bones. So that's the power of the clincher, and that's a typical example of Gould's imaginative use of the concrete image. He was a great entertainer, and that's part of what made him a great writer. There's a lot we can learn from Gould. He was wonderfully entertaining when I saw him speak at the University of Miami back in the 90s, when he gave his famous homage to Mickey Mouse, in which he argues that Mickey evolves in reverse, that Mickey gets younger over time, beginning with Steamboat Willie. But that's another story, maybe for next time. Take care.